Live Wednesday night, June 14th, 2017. Man, we are on fire with this call. It's 10:50 p.m. and it's amazing. It's amazing. Guys, look, why are you afraid to admit fault? So there's this thing with men where we don't ever want to admit that we're wrong. It's something that, one, we don't know how to do. Nobody tells us how to do, or we hear about it in some like religious or moralistic way. But in a real life application, how it can actually help you benefit your life and actually make you a better person. And what I'm going to talk about today is how it's one of my best qualities easily. All right. That all being said, this is the Daily Awesome Podcast. If you want to find out about men's development, better yourself as a man, that's what we do. I'm Steve Mayeda. I host the podcast, but what's actually happening here is we're live on a call. We're live on a call that has 18 dudes on at 10:50 p.m. Austin time from all around the world. Guys from Australia, guys from Guam, guys from Florida. I'm in Texas, guys from Illinois. Let's look. They're all over the freaking place. Guys from Melbourne, Australia, Sydney, Australia, Dallas, Canada, and New York City, Malaysia. Man, it's freaking crazy. So what we do is we interact, we talk as a men's group, and we put it all out there. You know, there's very few men in the world. Think about the percentage of men that actually work on themselves, and it means something. We do this multiple times a week, and you can plug and play, and there's about 68 guys that are currently on our membership that are active. So right now there's only 18 of them, but throughout the week, Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Thursday, you come in on the different calls and the different themed calls that we have. So that's really fucking cool. If you want to get involved with what we're doing, we have free groups that you can get started with. We also have a $20 a month group that you can get started with. Click the free stuff link down below. Find out about it. The free group is the starter, men's development starter. The men's development excellence is the one that has 60 plus members, and you get a lot more stuff with it, but it's great, man. And if you can't afford anything, do one of our 5-7 day challenges on bettering your life, getting your finances in order, or whatever it is, meeting women, having better sex, having a fitness plan that actually works. We have all those things and we do them. We're a community. All right, way too much of this. Let's get back to the topic. But 2 times this week, all right, and it's been a while for me, 2 times this week, actually 3 times, there were points where the idea of checking myself came into play, and I loved it. And it's been a while since that's happened. So the first 2 times actually happened, one time in jiu-jitsu and another time in a coaching capacity, all right? And it was one of those things where in jiu-jitsu, like I could argue it or whatever, you know, I have a lot of experience with it, or at least in the situation, the other guy got mad at me, talked to the coach about it, and the coach said, "Hey, dude, I love you, man, but I just want you to chill out." And when I heard that, this is what I did. I talked to the guy. I admitted 100% fault. I said, I'll take responsibility, and I don't want beef between us. And it was easy. You know, it was good. And I thought about it. I worried about it. You know, my ego told me to handle it in a different way. But, man, I know, and we'll get into the story of like how I learned this and all that sort of stuff. But I know that when I'm going to somebody with that sort of amends, with that sort of admitting fault, with that sort of the purpose of it behind it, I know how to do it. All right. Or I know the guideline that I'm comfortable to follow. All right. I'm not doing this to control him. I'm not doing this to submit. I'm not doing this to be weaker. I'm not doing this to get better. I'm doing this to clear the bullshit out and bring us back to zero the best way I know how to. The other time was in a coaching capacity where I was actually did something that made this guy uncomfortable. And he made his point. And you know what? You know, you could argue it once again, as always, but I could see how he was right. And I said, "Hey, dude, sorry, totally fucked up. I'm going to do this, this, and that to reverse the matter. And, shit, let me know if there's anything else." He texted me back. He said, "Nope, we're good." And so this is the thing that comes into play. All right. This idea of making amends, this idea of admitting fault is so difficult for men. And there's other videos I did of like men that are afraid to admit weakness, men who are afraid to admit fault. And it's something that we all go through and that I had, especially at a younger age. And it's just this shitty quality to have, in that we fear it mainly because we don't know how to do it. Okay. So I want to actually share something, the third thing that came about, because I'm a recovery person. So a lot of the stuff that I've learned is through 12-step programs and so on. I realize that isn't for everybody, but for me, it was extremely beneficial, especially the direction that my life was going. Man, I mean, God, I've been a part of those programs since I was 14, but going in and out, in and out. But at the time when I was 30, the area in the direction that my life was going was actually not good. It was a lot of bad stuff happening, a lot of chemical dependency revolving around that. Well, one of the things that comes into play when you learn that is the amends process. So I actually had the opportunity this week on Monday to go over somebody's amends that they had started on this process. And he was telling me about him and he was breaking him down. And I said, man, it's so funny because this week I've had some stuff where I've had to check myself. I had to check my own shit. I had to do an amends. And it's like, what do we do, man? Because we don't want to get caught in our head about the guilt. We don't want to get caught in our head about the ego game. We don't also want to act on this in a selfish way like we're going to get something. We don't want to do it and expect a result. We just want to clean our side of the street, put it there, and then they can decide. Right? And that's very, very important to get there. We cannot walk around with guilt. We cannot walk around with shame. We cannot walk around going, Steve is a fucked up person. I got to lower myself or whatever. Or we cannot even go in that I expect to feel good, to have somebody impressed by me by saying something. And I actually brought up to my buddy who I was going over this 9th step with, which is this step where we start to get active on the amends, is that I said, man, if you ever talk to somebody from Landmark Forum, now I know there's just like 12-step programs, there's a lot of crazy people in it. There's a lot of people who do it differently than how I might do it and whatever. But in Landmark, I tend to get these calls, which is a lot of guys I know who it's helped. All right. So I don't want to knock it, but there's this thing which happens where I'll get a call out of the blue and I haven't talked to this person for 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years, maybe just 2 weeks. And they say, hey, Steve, how's it going? Man, no, it's good to talk to you. Like, how are things going with whatever? And they bring up some random thing that they know from stalking me on Facebook, but not personally knowing me. Like, oh man, how are things? Like, I see, videos of you and your kids. Like, man, that must be awesome. Wow, that's great. And it's this like false superficial interest in me. And they say, hey, and I just cut them off. And I say, did you just do Landmark Forum? They say, oh man, how'd you know? And I'm like, did you get the script or whatever? And it's like, and I just say, man, look, like I'm all good. If this is like to clear up some wreckage thing, don't worry about it. It's all good. And then they push on and they tell me, they say, no, I really need to tell you this because it was so important for me and blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. And it becomes this thing that serves them. So they're wrong. Their apology now has a selfish component. And see, when I'm doing that, it may have a selfish component, but I try and think these things through. I try and bounce them off another person. And then what I do is I admit the exact nature of my wrong specifically. So that means if I stole $10 from somebody and then it caused them to get all pissed off and angry and then get in a fight with me or whatever, I don't apologize for that. I apologize for the 10 fucking bucks, not the damage that it caused and the fucking guilt that I have about that. Nor do I need to be going like, I'm this sociopathic, evil motherfucker that stole $10 from you. I'm a horrible person. It's like, man, I stole $10 from you. It was fucked up. It was wrong. It was a weird place in my life. No excuses. It's bullshit. Here's $10. I don't care about interest. I don't care about even if they say I owe them more or whatever, I'll listen to them. But no, after that, it's a choice. And why is that? Why is that? Because we need to learn to be responsible for who we are. We need to learn to take accountability for who we are. See, so much in our life right now, we can be whoever we want to be to the world who doesn't see us, who doesn't touch us, who doesn't feel us. We can posture, we can lie, we can talk shit. But you know what, man? What is so beautiful about living in my own skin is that fucking beautiful ability to say who I am right now. And sometimes when I'm wrong, I got to learn how to do that. What is the exact thing I did wrong? How can I fix it? Is this going to cause harm or confusion or reignite anger to this person? And am I going to not make this a scale of plus and minuses, but put it into a point where this perhaps stops being a conversation, where now we can get back to where we were before, so that I have amended a problem. I've made things level, brought them back to zero. Not by saying one wrong or one right or one whatever and adding to the next to makes it all equal. But it's like, how can we stop talking about this? And in my life, I've fucked over some major, major people. I've had some big problems that have affected people, that I've caused, that have affected people on a massive degree, where the action was that bad. It wasn't $10. It was shit that directly caused a problem that affected somebody for the rest of their life and may even continue to do that. What do I do? What's the exact wrong? And sometimes it's pretty fucking big. Is this going to cause harm? Bringing it up, is it going to re-stimulate drama? Bringing it up, is it going to confuse the person? And is this going to help in the process? So few people are afraid of that. So few people are afraid to do that, to put themselves out there or learn to do that. That, man, it's a life skill. It's one of the greatest life skills that I have. Man, I'll tell you this. After I apologized to those two people, I got in my head, man. I questioned myself. I was like, fuck, why am I doing this? Jeez, all this stuff, all this chatter, all that guilt, all that shame, all that doubt comes into play. But as long as I know how to take those actions, because your emotions lie to you, man. They tell you all sorts of shit. They bring in baggage into your fucking world that you didn't know you were still holding on to, which is a good thing because then you can work on it. But man, I did the actions. I did them how I have faith in. I did them how they've worked in those bigger deals in my life. And I get to move on. Those people can think whatever, but I know in time, and especially in these situations, those things pass. Man, if you caused a problem, it needs to be solved. It doesn't need to be delayed, brought up with over and over again, carried around with you. It doesn't need to be avoided. It needs to be confronted as soon as possible, as soon as you can. Bounce it off someone else. You know, every problem that you have, if it's causing drama or confusion or a reaction, it can wait an hour. It can wait a phone call to a trusted friend. It can probably wait a day. Might even wait a month. I've had problems that have waited decades, you know, in my own laziness. But they were able to be solved. Solve them right, do them right. Have some pride and accountability to yourself that you can fix those things. And man, it will be one of the greatest skills that you learn in your life. Hands down. Hands down. It's what makes you a man. In any case, if you like this Daily Awesome podcast, subscribe to it on iTunes, Stitcher, or on YouTube. And if you want to watch the video of this being recorded and see me talk, if you're watching it, you're to do it. If you want to listen to it, you go to the iTunes thing. But if you're listening to it on iTunes or Stitcher, you can watch the video if you click the free stuff link down below. Now, also in that, there's a free PDF that we feature. There's also some challenges that we're putting out, some challenges that are very cool on being social, connecting with people, on diet and fitness, some challenges on working your online dating profile, and some challenges on tapping into your primal drive. Very cool stuff. Those are all for free. They're 5 days to 7 days, depending on which one that you do. And man, they're fucking awesome. They're awesome. There's also a free group, the Austin Men's Development Group. But if you do want to step it up, it's a starter group, $20 a month, man, can get you on our calls, get you almost limitless content. And if you want to just even step it up even further and focus on specific calls or specific coaching calls that have to do with sex and relationships, on accountability, on starting a business, on sex, on whatever it is you can think about that has to do with masculinity, that's the MD Excellence program that I'd invite you to be a part of. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a happy day whenever it is. Later.